The security camera installed in front of this house's patio hid the apparition of a strange white object at 3 o'clock in the morning. Watch carefully. As we can see, there's an apparition of a white object that suddenly emerges from the direction of the crops. That figure then floats in the air and shortly after disappears completely. The house inhabitants, who claim to see such a strange apparition for the first time,
In May 2025, a woman named Melody Rose posted a video on TikTok explaining that she had just received a bouquet of flowers that mysteriously appeared at her house. No note, no sender, no explanation. But while she casually tells the story, something seriously disturbing occurs in the background.
And I got these flowers. Boom. They're dying. I know, that's not weird because it's me, okay? They die. No note.
If you watch carefully around second 15, a terrifying face appears in the upper left corner of the door frame. It's subtle, but once you see it, it's impossible to ignore. After viewers pointed it out, Melody uploaded an update video where she brightened the image to see it better. And yes, it only makes everything more creepy.
This is what I found.
She says her stomach dropped as soon as she clearly saw the face, and honestly, who could blame her? It looks like something straight out of a horror movie. And about those mysterious flowers, could it be that this spirit had something to do with the delivery? Maybe it was just a strange coincidence, or maybe it was leaving a calling card. Of course, it's always possible this was a clever hoax done with subtle video editing. But if it wasn't, this could be one of the most disturbing accidental captures on TikTok in a long time. What do you think? Harmless spirit, elaborate prank, or something much more disturbing? TikTok user Flat7 Ghost was simply relaxing at home in broad daylight when she suddenly heard strange noises coming from somewhere nearby. Naturally, she took her camera and went to investigate. That's when things took a terrifying turn. He sees something truly disturbing. What appears to be a shadowy figure briefly peeking out at him. His girlfriend, off camera, asks him what he saw, and he tries to explain, while cautiously continuing his search. But no matter how much he looks, the figure is nowhere to be found. There's something there, lurking just out of sight. What exactly that thing was, or what it wanted, remains a complete mystery. Some people think it could have been a ghost, while others wonder if it was a shadow person, or even just a very convincing optical illusion. But if this was fake, it's done subtly enough to leave room for doubt. So, what do you think is happening here? Paranormal activity, or just a trick of light? The following story comes from the interdimensional NHI subreddit, focused on everything related to UFOs and non-human intelligence. And this particular video has been receiving a lot of attention. Fortunately, there's some useful context around this case. Investigative journalists Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp released this video, captured by US military forces and officially classified as a UAP, an identified aerial phenomenon, by the US intelligence community. The object seen in the video has been described as disc-shaped and appears to perform precise and intelligent maneuvers without showing signs of thermal propulsion. The incident is reported to have occurred on November 23, 2020 at 11:13 UTC, and the location was pinpointed at these coordinates. The video was recorded using FLIR, forward-looking infrared, a type of military thermal imaging technology. But despite using this technology, the object emits no thermal signature. The craft also performed a sudden change of direction, again without visible means of propulsion, and some reports even mentioned brief atmospheric disturbances during the encounter. Even after analysis, no one seems to know where this thing came from, what it's doing, or how it works. That, of course, only adds to the mystery surrounding UAPs like this. This video uploaded to TikTok by Ghosts on Camera One seems to show exactly what the username promises. It begins with the user sitting casually at home when, suddenly, the door handle behind him begins shaking violently. According to him, this strange activity has been occurring since he moved in, despite the building being completely new.
This has been happening ever since we've moved in. Ever since we've been moved in, this has been happening. It's a brand new building. I don't get it. Happens that often the handle is even loose. Really, really fed up with this. It's all the time at the moment.
Even when he gets up to investigate, there's nothing visible causing the disturbance. No one is behind the door, and there's no air current or obvious vibration to explain the movement. Surprisingly, the man doesn't seem scared at all, just visibly annoyed, calling the whole situation more frustrating than frightening. And honestly, that reaction is quite refreshing. We're so used to seeing people scream and panic during paranormal events. But in this case, he's simply fed up. Still, there's something particularly disturbing about this type of phenomenon in a new house. One would expect this kind of activity in an old creaky house with a long history, not in a newly built property, unless, of course, the land it was built on has its own story to tell. Whatever the case, let's hope this strange door activity ends soon, and this guy can finally have some peace and quiet.
Tadi itu sadar itu kayak Ima, sadar.
A man who works in tent and wedding decoration rentals shared a terrifying experience on TikTok that he had during a job. When he arrived at the family's house where the event would be held, he was shocked to discover that the yard where the wedding would take place contained several graves. He was even scolded because his vehicle stepped on some of these burial sites. However, something strange was captured by the camera once he finished installing the tent and decorations.
Ini makam 1, 2, sama ini makam panjang. Makamnya panjang banget, guys. Kita lihat nanti hasilnya.
The graves were enormous and extended throughout the entire area. When reviewing the video later at home, the man realized that the figure of an elderly woman with disheveled hair and dressed completely in black had appeared, standing next to the tent watching him. This disturbing and terrifying presence had been there the entire time, but he didn't notice her presence until he edited the recorded material. On another occasion, two bridal makeup artists were heading at 3 in the morning to their clients' house when they were filled with terror upon seeing a white figure that stood under an arch in front of them.
Suka makan mundur jalan. Astagfirullahaladzim.
The apparition had the shape of a specter wrapped in white cloths located under the structure. Realizing that this was not a real person, they decided not to continue their journey and returned the way they had come. A worker returning home at night encountered a disturbing apparition.
Astagfirullahaladzim.
In the recording, you can clearly observe a woman dressed in white with a pale face who remained seated on a wall. Despite his fear, the man bravely stopped and filmed her for a considerable amount of time.
Ora jare-jare kok kosong kowe.
Several neighbors became alarmed when a mysterious figure dressed in white appeared, remaining motionless on the roof of a mosque. The presence stayed, still near the sound system on top of the religious building. Curious residents approached in groups to observe and record the phenomenon, but so far it has not been determined whether it was a real person or a supernatural manifestation.
Anh kurang kot ajuri gue haki yo, ajuri non goblok tuh.
Women were creating social media content by dancing cheerfully, but only 2 of them noticed something strange. Behind the 2 who were in the back of the group, there was a figure dressed in white that remained motionless watching them. The 2 women who didn't perceive the presence continued dancing without concern, while the other 2 who did notice, it froze, showing expressions of terror on their faces. A man who was experiencing constant paranormal events in his home decided to document each of these disturbing situations. In one of his videos, you can clearly see how the kitchen faucet activated repeatedly by itself, but what was most disturbing was the shadow of a person that appeared reflected inside the dishwasher.
Excuse me, are you back there again? This has become its favorite spot. And there he is. Okay, that's enough water, please. Okay. Everyone can see you in the reflection, bud. Everyone can see you in the reflection. And it's gone. Okay. I know he's not in here, but I just want anyone who's watching to see. This is too small. But just like it's not. I just wanted you to see. The cabinets are knocking again. I'm leaving. Ouch. That's enough for today.
When he went to investigate, he found no one in that place.
Okay, that's enough water, please. Okay. Everyone can see you in their reflection, bud. Everyone can see you in their reflection. And it's good.
A Chinese ghost hunter ventured during the night to explore a public cemetery, but ended up terrified by what he witnessed. The images show with complete clarity a woman with an extremely pale face, dressed in a red dress, who remained seated on one of the graves. The figure watched the man with a completely expressionless facial expression, which caused him to run away in terror. A driver traveling through a dark and lonely place was filled with panic when he saw a strange and mysterious presence on the road. The apparition, which resembled a woman in a white dress, moved from side to side, blocking the path. The driver, filled with fear, reduced his vehicle's speed, hesitating whether or not to cross the area where this disturbing figure was. Preceded, a woman who observed an apparition on the exterior stairs of a house near the main road hurried to record it. In the images, you can vaguely distinguish what appears to be an elderly woman dressed in white with disheveled hair, who remained seated silently on the steps. The person filming the scene felt deeply terrified by what she was witnessing. Security cameras installed in a park captured a mysterious woman dressed in white who walked alone before disappearing completely.
Astagfirullahaladzim, guys, kalian ada yang tahu nggak sih ini apa? Dia lagi mojok di ujung tangga. Itu liatin, kalian ada yang tahu nggak sih itu apa?
The recordings show with absolute clarity how this figure suddenly vanishes without a trace. The security guard who was watching these images from his monitor was startled and filled with fear upon witnessing this inexplicable phenomenon.